Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to stand up here and delivering you some words that hopefully can make a good impact for you and our future. So, first of all, I would like you to imagine that you're standing in a classroom as a language teacher. Let's say an English language teacher. You're explaining something in a language your students are still afraid to speak. All you see in their faces are silence. You ask a question, no one answer. No one dare to speak because they hesitate and they're afraid of making mistake. So you begin to wonder, are they even learning or just listening? So today I won't talk about language learning. There are so many people talk about the importance of language learning, and we all know that it is important to learn language. Today I will talk about something a bit different, how to teach language. Okay? As an English education program, this skill is one of the most important skill we must have because that's our purpose of joining English education program, how to teach our students in the future. Okay? And the situation I've told you before, the imagination, standing in a classroom explaining something in a language, shows us one important truth. Language is not simply just grammar and vocabularies. It is about how to build a confidence to student to speak, practice and use the language as a daily life language as well. So ladies and gentlemen, there are 7 things you must know about how to teach language. At least 7 that I know. The first one is you must focus on communication, not just grammar. I'm not here saying that grammar isn't important. It is very important, but in many classes, teachers still focus only in grammar and vocabulary. Students are asked to memorize the grammar, the tenses, formulas, 5,000 of lists of vocabularies, practice in the books, theories, etc. Only in theories, no communication at all. So, language is meant to be used. It is a tool of communication. Okay? For example, if a student, among of the students, there's always one student who has a really good knowledge about grammar. They know all the tenses, they memorize all of them, but they do not know how to communicate their ideas clearly. They don't know how to say it orally. So it is not balanced at all. As a teacher, we must ask students to use the language as much as possible. Okay? Yeah. Activities such as role plays or group discussion can make a good improvement too. Even a simple question such as, what did you do yesterday? What are you doing now? What have you done 2 days ago? Will make a good improvement for the students. Okay? The second one, you must create a safe and supportive environment. Okay? So one of the biggest challenge for students is fear. They fear of making mistake, they fear of being judged, fear to be wrong. Many students choose to stay silent, not because they don't understand. They do understand, but they're just afraid of being judged by the people who's better than them academically, for example. Or worse, they're afraid of being judged by their own teacher. So that's why, as a teacher, we must create a safe environment where mistakes is a natural part of learning as well. For example, if student makes mistake, instead of correcting them immediately, you need to respond them positively and gently guide them to the better answer with a simple smile, encouragement, and a word that said, it's okay to make mistake. That's okay, you did a great job. It's okay, that's a good try. Will boost an improvement. Will make the student not feeling afraid again. Okay? So if the students are confident enough, they will participate more, and participation will lead to a better improvement. Third one is use engaging and interactive activities. Okay, so students can learn better when they are active, not passive, okay? Teachers can use games, role plays, and group discussion to make a whole class active, okay? So instead of just listening, students listening the whole class from the beginning to the end, you can involve the student to the learning process, okay? For example, instead of just ask them to memorize a dialogue from a text, you can ask them to make their own conversation in pairs. That way, they can improve their communication and also creativity. Okay? Yeah. So the fourth one is integrate the 4 language skills. So language learning includes speaking, writing, reading, and listening, right? Yeah. Instead of separate them all, you can just learn and teach them together, all together in one class. Let's take an example. Let's start from ask the student to listen to a short conversation. Okay, that's listening, and then after that, you can ask them to discuss with the group. Ask them to actively speak about what they have listened. That's speaking. And then after that, you can ask them to write down a related text to what have they discussed and what they have listened. That's writing. And the last one, you can ask them to read and to revise their writing, what they have written. And 4 skills will be included all. This way, students can have a deeper understanding because they learn multiple skills at the same time. The 5th one is you need to understand the students' need and differences. You see, every student is unique. Some of them can learn quickly, some of them needs more time, some of them are confident speakers, some of them are more comfortable analyze, listening, and writing at the back of the seat. So teacher must be flexible, okay? You can provide additional method for a student who is struggling, for example, and you can give more challenge for the student who are advanced. So one single method cannot make whole student fully understand, okay? Adaptation is the key. You must be adapted in every situation and every time. Okay. So, the 6th is use real life context. Yeah. So, instead of just ask a student to memorize all of the list of vocabularies in isolation, you can make it into a real life context. For example, there are a list of vocabularies about food. Okay, you can make a role play where students, as a customer and a waiters, talking about a list of vocabularies, having a conversation, and include those food vocabularies. That way, they can think widely, and communication will improve so much. Okay. And the last, finally, be patient and consistent. You know, learning language is not that easy. Students cannot master all the language overnight. We need time to do it. So teacher must be patient. Every single step, every single process is meaningful. Okay? So you must be consistent too, because in a small conversation, small discussion, it will bring an improvement over time. So you must be patient and consistent, and let the time show the result one day. Okay? So before I end my speech, I would like to emphasize one important thing. Teaching is not simply just transferring knowledge. It is about how to find students' voice and confidence. So, in conclusion, teaching is not simply just grammar and theories, but also making a student to be confident enough to make their own speaking clearly, okay? Yeah, so hope this speech can make a good impact for you and all of us actually, yeah, including me. Okay, thank you very much for your attention and have a nice day.